I think any good business has the ability to look at what's missing in the market or where people will find benefit or ease in what you're doing. And for Bounce, that was all about, breaking down the barriers to fitness.
Welcome to This is Opportunity, the podcast brought to you by California Intercontinental University, where we celebrate successful entrepreneurs that created their own opportunities. My name is Dalton, and here at CAU, I help future business leaders accomplish their goals. Today, we meet with Kimberlee Perry, founder and CEO of Bounce Fit Body. She created a completely unique experience and was recognized as Franchise of the Year in 2018.
Hi, thanks for having me on the podcast today.
It's a pleasure, and I'm really excited to learn about you, Bounce, and all the opportunity that you've created. So can you tell us, for those that may not know, what is Bounce?
Yeah, sure. Bounce is mini trampoline fitness classes. So what we do is exercise in a group on what is officially known as a rebounder trampoline. So very small, it's only about 1 meter in diameter, one person on each trampoline, and it's a very tight trampoline mat. So when you jump on it, it's quite taut, like almost a softer version of the floor. So you can get a really quick, fast aerobic exercise workout on the mini trampolines. It's set in what is low lights with disco lights pumping and music pumping. So it feels like you're in a nightclub. It's a club environment. And what the focus is trying to bring people together and break down those barriers to exercise and give it some sort of social fun spin on your workout. We're trying to say, make your fitness fun, make it an event, make it like you're going out to a club and you're going with all your friends, and then you're more likely to commit to your exercise, you're more excited to go to it, and it's not a chore. Bounce as a brand is heavily focused on those health benefits, and really that's a big part of why we've been so successful. It's a very appealing piece of equipment to work with. So the trampoline mat itself is going to absorb 87% of impact. So that means it's a tough but comfortable workout. So the joints, knees, ankles, back, any of those joints are softened by the trampoline mat when you jump. So incredibly popular as a workout with anyone returning from injury. Anyone that's postpartum or recently had a baby, anyone that's a little bit older with more brittle bones, you're creating osteoblasts within the bone, so bone density is improved. So there's many, many reasons why Bounce appeals to all ages, all abilities, and all types of people interested in exercise.
We kind of given like a nice peek at what Bounce is, but how did this idea come to you? Like, when did you go, Bounce, this is a great idea?
Yeah, it didn't start off in the typical entrepreneurial fashion. I was the sales manager for an events company. So I was very used to organizing and planning and working with the sales team. But when I got pregnant, I obviously wasn't able to maintain that lifestyle, going to events late at night, on weekends, or the travel. So I really sort of assessed what I wanted out of my career. And my love, my passion is exercise, is being active. You can kind of hear my accent has a little bit of an Aussie twang mixed with a British drawl there. So I'm originally from Australia, and the lifestyle and the culture in Australia is really sports driven. So when I moved to England, I really was focused on finding a network of friends through physical activity and sport. So that's always been consistent for me in my life. And when I fell pregnant, I decided to go back to that love of exercise and look at what I wanted to do with my career and my time. So initially, I retrained my skills from the corporate industry into obviously fitness. So that's a big part of the step into where I wanted to be. At that point, I didn't know it was bounce, but I definitely wanted to be certified and qualified and shift my skills. So yeah, studying by correspondence was a massive, massive thing for me whilst I was pregnant. And throughout that time, that 9 months, I decided that working in fitness, I needed to bring to the market something unique. And with such a saturated market like the fitness industry, I was looking for something dance focused, because I'm interested in dancing and choreography, and something that was tough, difficult, and going to improve weight loss really quickly, which the rebounder does. And so I started to look around at different pieces of apparatus and came up with the trampoline and putting a dance choreographed class onto a trampoline instead of just jumping up and down to lose weight. Around that time, I started to do a lot of free classes and show people what I was up to and just get their feedback and test the waters. And I decided to rent a local community venue and run some classes there, pay-as-you-go type classes, and it just took off. There was so much interest, like I said, from different ages and abilities, that I had to do more and more and more classes. Fortunately, I was interested in doing that, shifting all the baby weight after I'd had my son. And I knew at that point the demand and the different type of people walking in and wanting to give this class a go. It was a viable business. And that's when I started to put those elements together. Thinking about, bringing in some more instructors, recruiting some teachers, starting a training course, and getting my program franchised or ready for other people to buy into the business once they'd done that training program. So all of those elements came together over around about, I would say, under a year. It took me from launch to recognizing this is a pretty serious business that I could make something of. But it's all down to testing the waters, really, and looking at the feedback from the clients throughout that year-long period.
Mm-hmm. So you grew really quickly in a short amount of time, and you had success with Bounce, and it was catching on. But I want to hear about the growth. So you've kind of touched upon it already, but give me an example of what Bounce started as. Like, how many people were in a class? Like, what materials did you have? And then some of the opportunities that you used to improve that to get to where you are now as an amazing fitness franchise.
Yeah. It was it was something that started so simple. And I think that that's a really important thing for anyone starting a new business or even looking to shift career. Just look at what you can manage. And at that time for me, like I said, I was on maternity leave and I didn't really know where my career was going to go. So I took around about 200 pounds, which is around $400 or so. And I bought 8 secondhand mini trampolines off eBay, Amazon, wherever I could get them. And I got that as much as I could afford. And I got them in my back garden, and I invited some friends over and literally would force them to do it like all the time to
Sometimes
see if I was any good at teaching it, if I could make that next step and shift my career effectively. Because like I said, I was in corporate. I was going to the office every day. I was the sales manager for, a big London-based company, and to go and jump on a trampoline every day just was crazy. So my investment initially was small and manageable, and the risk was very low. So my confidence in growing it was comfortable for me. And I really think that being honest about that helped me to develop in confidence much quicker than anyone that might seek investment from other people or, that has backing behind them. There is a lot more pressure. So, my advice would be to take it quite slow initially, and that's what worked for me. So 8 secondhand trampolines, bringing people into my garden, and then taking it to a venue, hiring a venue locally. And every time I had profit, I would put it to one side and buy another trampoline. So my trampoline numbers grew, which meant my class could grow. And, 8 trampolines went to, 12 to 15 to 20. And when I outgrew that space, that studio space in my local community hall, I went to look for somewhere bigger. And obviously, at that point, the rent became a monthly fee instead of an hourly fee. And, my website was all done at that point. I'd done that myself. Won't brush over that. I'd done a templated website. I'd created some flyers online. And, I had a logo, and I would work on the text, on selling the classes and talking about the classes. And so I was really working hard to put everything back into the business whenever I had profits to buy another trampoline or to grow and open up a new space. And that's what happened. I opened up another studio. When I say opened up, I literally hired another venue for an hourly rate on the other side of town and then in the next town. So it's about putting that money back in and seeing that growth in a really simple, obvious way. Mirror imaging what you've done in the initial steps and trying to carbon copy that. And that's exactly how it led to being a franchise model. I had no idea about franchising when I started, so I sought the advice of a lawyer. I didn't even know what to ask a lawyer. I would just ring around law firms and say, I've got this idea and I want to make sure that legally I'm protected, and I want other people to teach for me, and I don't want them to steal my idea. And, what do I do? It was literally conversations like that. And I came across some people that would say, oh, you need a franchising lawyer, or, oh, you need advice from this person, or, that's intellectual property. You better get that protected with this law firm. And these words I'd never heard of. So they became more and more common knowledge, and, a little bit of research here, a little bit of advice there. And I was able to develop a franchise model with a law firm that, was really ready to help me. And that's how the franchising side of the business began. And now, instead of just selling trampoline spaces to attendees, I work really hard from a sales perspective to sell the franchise as well, so other people can have a piece of the pie.
What I think is great is that you took something that you love, something that you're good at, and something that you knew society needed, and you implemented it. And I see a lot of value in that. So what are some of the values that you think really help drive an opportunity like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's really important. I think any good business has the ability to look at what's missing in the market, or where people will find benefit or ease in what you're doing. And for Bounce, that was all about, breaking down the barriers to fitness. So one of the barriers is that it's not enjoyable. That it's a chore. Exercising is difficult. So looking at the actual workout, and like I said, the disco lights, the rainbow colors and the branding, the welcoming nature of the attendees and the instructors, there's some of the obvious things that you can do, or that we did, to appeal to the market. Those values are really important to people's time. Like, what am I going to get out of my time spent on this business? And that's what the attendee asks themselves.
We know that the world has been struggling with COVID-19. This is something that's not just happening in one place, it's happening all over. And I'm sure that this is something that has impacted you as well. So with the type of model that you carry, how did you adjust to those times? What are some of the things that you did?
Yeah, that was extremely difficult for a brand like Bounce, because one of the first things I said was, we're bringing people together. and it's group exercise and it's socializing. So along comes COVID and no one's allowed to be near anyone. So that core part of our business, it was a really, really big scare for me and the team that I work with. But challenges like that can be so good for growth. And that's exactly what happened with Bounce. Because we had founded the business on groups coming together, I had never done anything online. I refused to do any virtual classes. I did not want a DVD. I did not believe in YouTube or anything like that, because in the early stages, if you undertook Bounce like that, you're on your own. And that went against everything that I was trying to do, bring people together. So if I am forced to do that, that's the only option I've got. COVID encouraged that, and what we looked at is really questioning the business model and saying all those ideals that you might have thought were your USP or typecast you as in the first place, maybe they can be softened a little bit to expand growth and to appeal to a wider market. So trying not to take away those core values, we did end up doing Bounce virtually. So classes went online when COVID hit. However, making a clear difference between a studio class, because let's face it, coronavirus isn't going to last forever. We did need to bounce back to studio classes. I wanted there to be a clear difference. So there's a 60-minute class when you go into the studio, but there's only a 45-minute class when you do it virtually. It's a little bit cheaper when you do it virtually, but it's not live, and a studio class is live. So virtual classes are pre-recorded. There's a lot of differences like that we were able to say to the marketplace, yeah, we're going to have to adapt for coronavirus, and maybe it wasn't what we thought or what we wanted you to do. We want you to get back to classes and be a social group, and we want you to see people and relish in that support network and that live motivation. But for now, we're going to provide something that's pretty good and satisfies everything, but isn't what you want to get back to in this life. So that's what we did, virtual classes with a difference, making sure there was two different markets. And when coronavirus is all over and we can get back to being together, we will maintain those virtual classes, but always ensuring that the choreography is different and the workout is slightly different in its programming too.
Thank you for sharing all that. I also want you to share a little bit about how someone like me or someone else can access Bounce. Tell us how we can get involved.
Yeah, so there's two things that you can do and two parts of Bounce as a business model. People obviously come to class as attendees and they love it and they do their workout and then they go. But if you're doing it multiple times a week and you are so keen on fitness, we provide a training program where you can become an instructor as well. So people will do our training course virtually, or they can come live into a studio environment and learn Bounce that way. And then from there, they can go and teach for their local venue, which enables that franchisee to open up more venues with more instructors beneath them. Or someone on a training course might go along and teach for a little while and then decide this is a pretty viable business for me to have, as a second revenue stream to my 9-to-5 job, or they might just want to get paid for when they used to work out. So yeah, you can go to Bounce from both sides there.
Awesome. So what has Bounce done for you and your family?
Well, initially, when I began the business, I mentioned to you that I was pregnant, or I was on maternity leave when things really sort of got got bigger for me in my mind. So obviously my son was born at the same time as Bounce was born. So I have two babies. One is Bounce and one is my little boy. It's led my son and I to be able to sort of exercise and work out together. I can take him along. And now with the business growing so large, my husband is a director of the company as well. And he obviously was able to marry up his skills and work within the business as our marketing and photographer, videographer. He does all our imagery. So we're really working closely as a family every day. My friends all do the workout as well. So it really is a lifestyle for me. And it has taken, a massive commitment as a family unit to start a business and to see that success. Now, in the UK, there are just over 370 franchise venues up and down the country. And we have 15 venues in Australia and 5 in New Zealand as well. So from an international perspective, we have a huge amount of growth. And every month, there's an average of 47,000 people monthly doing our classes. So in that 6 years, it has taken a lot of hard graft, but, from a business perspective, if it's your passion, it really doesn't feel like it's work either. So, it's a lovely lifestyle, really.
We are passionate about also providing people the opportunity to grow themselves physically and mentally. So we also want to share this experience with someone else, one of the listeners of the podcast. So what we're going to be doing is providing them an opportunity to be given a trampoline, as well as access to your courses as well.
I was really honored when you guys got in contact about, chatting and doing this conversation, because I am really, really passionate about working and improving your skills by correspondence. I feel like that has been a pivotal step in my life in changing career, and the work that you guys do virtually and enabling people to upskill in their own time. I can vouch for that. So absolutely, it's a thrill to know that someone on campus is actually going to be able to go through the Bounce program and obviously benefit from winning a trampoline and doing some classes and training with us as well.
Well, thank you for everything. It's been a pleasure. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewers, or maybe some potential entrepreneurs that you think might help them?
Yeah, I think it's really important to, look within yourself and what you enjoy to do, what you love to do, what you're passionate about, and follow that. And, along the way, you might not be able to see that very clearly, but if you stay true to what's important to you, for example, me with a young son at the time, I wanted to have child-friendly fitness. I wanted to do something that I was passionate about every day, which was exercise, physical activity. You keep those core values close to you, and your future and the work that you do will have so much integrity, and it will be so valuable to you in more than just a financial aspect. So I wish everyone that drive and determination to keep going and thinking of those goals, and I'm sure that you'll feel that happiness within, and people will benefit from whatever you're doing.
Everyone, you heard it here. Kimberlee Perry, founder and CEO of Bounce Fit Body. Thank you.
Thank you.